Hey, Elisa, half Asian Tarot Queen, and Happy New Year. I did a reading for New Year's Day, and it was pretty harsh, actually. It was kind of a harsh reading. Um, so I'm going to step back, and I'm going to look at the whole year and see, you know, I think when you take a bird's eye view and you're not looking at single days, like, hopefully it'll be a little gentler and more optimistic, but we'll see where it goes. Um, I've pulled together a number of decks for this reading, and one thing I wanted to point out is that three of these decks have the same artist, the illustrations, because, sometimes the artist gets left out in the cold, but the Star Child Tarot, I'm pointing these out particularly because I really love the artwork on these decks. This is a Work Your Light Oracle deck. And then this is a new one that I just got for Christmas called A Yogic Path by Daniel Noel. So there's a lot of gold here. So I also might pull out my Golden Universal for some clarification. And then because it's New Year, I'm going to do the Gateway Oracle because we're going through a gateway to a new decade. So starting out, I'm just going to go with the Star Child Tarot to get some overall energies for the year. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Swords. So it's interesting. You can see all the stars and the moon in the background. But this can often be like a card of contemplation. That kind of makes sense. We're all going into a new era, a new decade, and kind of taking a big picture and of how we want, the rhythm, the larger rhythms of our life to go, and contemplating that. So that might be a theme that might emerge in the reading, but we're just gonna keep pulling cards and see where we go. Oh, it's interesting. I one of these cards I just pulled the other day with the same deck. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. So we have the Nine of Wands, the Two of Wands, and the Star Seed. So this is actually a special card. I've pulled this recently, but this is a card that's special to this deck. This deck is pretty metaphysical, and it's purple, so I think it really resonates with this higher chakras. But this card in particular has a special meaning that's not present in most decks, so I actually might read that from the book for you because it's so special. One second. Okay, I just wanted to grab the book so I could read you the exact meaning of this card. Starseed is the inner spark of your being that journeys throughout the many lifetimes, forms, and worlds of your story. It is a divine energy that gives you the strength and foresight to go your own way along a new, uncharted path. When you connect with this part of yourself, the serendipitous moments seem to continuously unfold around you, and magic is present in your life. It is your own internal compass that directs you towards your dreams and inner light. The lessons that shape and form you throughout all of your adventures and awakenings are going to be essential, but don't forget, the limitations of the outside world also have the power to distract us from our higher calling. This is when we must look inward in order to find the answers, to seek out who we really are and beyond what we've been told or expected to be, to find out what fulfills us from a much deeper place of spirit. This is your journey. This is the light of your path. Every time you make a choice, you alter the course of your story. How are you going to write the book of your life? How are you connecting with your inner light? And it means movement, freedom, experience, innocence, journey, hopes and dreams, and inner child. So, I think this is a really interesting card to come up for a New Year's reading because, all the readings leading up to this, there was a lot of, conflict and turmoil, and, you know, having to stand your ground with decisions that, you know, people around you didn't necessarily agree with, and just, you know, having to go your own way and be true to your own journey, which is, you know, we're stepping into a new decade, and so a lot of changes are happening, and this seems particularly appropriate, and it's just about following your, you know, your own inner calling, and living the life that you were meant to live, and being true to that. So that's very inspiring, and I think it goes along with these other two cards. So this Nine of Wands, you know, this can be a wounded warrior card. This is particularly relevant for me because, well, my dad is a wounded warrior. He's a vet, and he's been in the hospital, so I've been home, you know, with my parents, and helping them, and learning all about, you know, my history and the Vietnam era. But in terms of this reading, it's just sort of like someone who's been through a lot of battles, and they've fought the good fight, you know, and they haven't reached their goal yet, you know, but it's in sight, you know, but it's just sort of like you're kind of beaten and bruised, and you're not giving up, but, you know, you're ready for things to change, and you're ready for your positive outcome, like you want it to come, but you just have to fight kind of like one last battle to kind of push things through. And then we have the Two of Wands, which this is a card of decision, and again, having to kind of make choices, and, you know, choose between situations or relationships, and go your own way, you know. So it's just like it's been a hard-fought battle to be true to yourself, but there's going to be a reward, and yeah, that's the overall energy for the year. So I'm going to pull some more cards and see if we can get some more insight into what's going on. So when I split up the deck, so I'm going to the Golden Universal deck. So this is, we have this Knight of Wands energy, which we have a whole thread about, this player guy. And then we have this Ten of Pentacles, which is like a dynasty, you know. So it's like this guy, he's moving towards his stable, abundant family situation. So that's interesting. That's an interesting storyline. And actually, those resonate with two threads that have been ongoing on the channel. One would be the player thread, and one would be dynasty. So I'm going to keep pulling cards and see if that comes up again. Interesting. So if you are new to this channel, welcome. Happy New Year. I just want to mention that the videos on the channel are arranged in a slightly less than standard way, in the sense that they're not arranged according to date or zodiac sign. All the readings are timeless, and they all tell a story, you know, and so they're arranged according to storylines. So if there's a video that resonates with you, I try to connect it with other videos that are related to that storyline. There's a video on the main page of the channel that kind of explains the intention behind this. If this is something that interests you, I do also try to link videos within videos that are related, so that you can kind of browse the channel that way. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but I think it works. It works. So, okay, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Temperance card. So this is a card of, you know, finding balance and alchemy, and sort of like mixing, you know, they're mixing different cups together. And this kind of makes sense. We're, you know, we're going through like a big change period, and trying to figure out what works works for us, and trying to be true to our path. And sometimes this might require, separating from energies around you or influences, in the service of change. So for sure, I can feel that. So we've got the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. So this is interesting because this definitely goes along with what I was just saying. So this is a card of truth, the truth being told, and there's not really any way around it. It's just a plain and simple truth. You can't argue with it. It's just, it is what it is. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles. So this can be a hard work, just kind of like nose to the grindstone, getting her done, like you're not talking about it, you're not contemplating, you're just kind of like making a solid, dedicated effort towards some goal. And then we have the Queen of Swords. So this is a no-nonsense queen. She's really been through the ringer. She's seen a lot, and so she's very wise, a very wise queen. And, she can be harsh. I mean, people can see her as harsh, but she's not harsh. She's just pretty no-nonsense, and she knows what she needs. She knows what she wants, and she's very straightforward, so there's not a lot of floweriness, it's just a very straightforward intention. And she doesn't, waste time on things that aren't in alignment with her intentions, because she's kind of already done that, and she's already learned those lessons. So she's very focused, and she's very powerful. But some people might be can be put off by that at times. So the way I'm taking this is just, we're talking about these big shifts, and people, the overall energy of the year is just trying to be true to your journey and like your goals. And so sometimes, that's going to put people off, when you put your truth out there in a no-nonsense way. But, that's just part of the journey, so it's just kind of like a solid, dedicated effort towards, your journey, and being true to that. And that's like a powerful energy this year. Then on the next row we have Justice, the World, and the Knight of Wands. So it's like crazy how much air energy is coming out here, so this is like a message of truth or clarity, and karma being served. And this is like the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. So it's almost like whatever this truth is that's coming through, it's a fair outcome, but it's changing everything and turning everything on its head. Because like once this truth is out there, it is what it is, and it's just gonna change everything, so it's really, this is like, the end of a decade. Like we're really ending a cycle and starting a whole new cycle. So really big changes that are happening for people, And so when we take a bird's eye view of the reading, we have this Wounded Warrior card. And right under that we have the Truth and we have Justice. So it's interesting. These are Libra energies, especially, this Justice. But it's just, we're kind of at the end of our rope, but truth and justice is coming in, So whatever it was that was, that caused all this wounding, karma is finally being served on this situation, and so that it can come back into balance. And then under this, once that truth is known, we're going to have to be decisive, make a decisive action, and we're going to have to, put our intentions, align our intentions and our actions towards the outcome that we want to deliver in our lives. So, it'll be the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, and then we'll need to make a dedicated effort, towards whatever we decide is our new path. And then, it's so crazy. So we have this star seed. It's all about being true to your journey, true to your soul's calling. And then we have the Queen of Swords and we have the Knight of Swords. Tons of air energy. So this year is all about just the truth and coming into alignment with your truth, and this is just, this no-nonsense queen who's just totally in alignment with her intentions and her truth, and this truth being delivered, So it's just sort of like, if you've been humoring a situation that, out of just kindness or being nice to other people, or maybe it wasn't in alignment with your truth or what you wanted, well, all of that's going to get flattened. Like, that cycle's over. The cycle of maybe cooperating with situations that aren't aligned with your truth, that's all going away. Karma's coming through, justice is happening, and we're all kind of coming into alignment with our purpose, So that's actually really beautiful development. I'm going to pull some cards from the back to the Starseed to get some guidance on how we're going to move through these energies. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is really wild because both of these cards came out in a reading which I believe was called, it's from 2 days ago, I'll link it, whatever it is, but both these cards came out. So underneath this wounded warrior and kind of reaching the end of, I think this is the end of the old cycle, it's just like you're ready for this new beginning. Well, this heartbreak card came out over this truth and karma, which kind of explains why we've been kind of held back at this place, because, I think part of what's withheld this truth and karma from coming through is that it is heartbreaking. It's going to be heartbreaking for some people. There's some harsh lessons that are going to have to be learned, and sometimes, people are around and you might see like an outcome sort of coming down the pipe, and it's going to be harsh for someone. So it's like I think the empathetic side of our people is just wanting to protect the people around them that they care about from outcomes that are going to be harsh, but at the end of the day, you can't protect people from their own karma. This is like a massive energy also that came up in the new moon in Capricorn reading, and it's just, in the last week, at the end of the year and the end of the decade, there's been a massive energy of like truths being told and harsh truths, and reality checks, and that's definitely going to come through this year, and it's sometimes a really difficult energy to work through, but when that happens, there's going to have to be a decision, a decisive moment that's going to end that cycle of sort of protecting people from their own karma and from the truth, and we're going to have to make a dedicated effort towards a new beginning, which is interesting because the card that came out here was the Ace of Cups, which is a new beginning that's based in love, so that could be like self-love, or it could be a relationship. But, you know, if we're honoring our journey, I mean, that is self-love, you know, that's the essence of self-love, you know. So it's beautiful, you know, because we're ending this cycle so that we can honor our own journeys, you know, which that's beautiful. You know, it's hard, but it's beautiful. So, you know, here we are with our, you know, honoring our journey. We have to move through some harsh truths to get there. And then the card that falls on top of that is the Six of Wands, which is moving from, you know, from a bad place, you know, on to a better place. So I think, you know, the overall message here is that, you know, don't be disheartened by this heartbreak. You know, be true to yourself and be true, you know, to your passions, and you're gonna be moving on to a better place. So just have faith and trust in the journey, because this is how it was meant to be, you know. So on that note, I'm going to pull some more cards. I'm going to pull one from the Gateway Oracle. Oh my gosh. So I opened it up, and this was on the bottom of the deck. Listening with your heart. I trust the messages I receive from my heart. So that seems super appropriate, you know. This is the guidance that's going to help move us through this transition into the new decade. Listen to your heart. Okay, and then I'm going to pull from the Work Your Light Oracle deck. This is a beautiful deck. It has really amazing, beautiful artwork. And I'm going to pull a card from that. See, this definitely looks like it's going to be a big turning point of a year, which is exciting. You know, there's a lot of big changes that are coming through. I mean, just speaking for myself, I would say, like, right now I'm kind of like, you know, it's always darkest before the dawn. You know, I'm sort of in the period where it's just like the destruction, you know, before something new starts. So I was joking, because right now things look pretty bad. But, you know, that's kind of like the setup for a Hallmark movie, because it's just like someone's kind of down and out, and like they've been through some harsh reality checks, but that kind of opens up a new beginning, you know. So I'm walking into the decade pretty wide open with a totally clean slate with kind of nothing on it. Oh, okay. So the card that we got is Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? It's interesting, because these two kind of go together. I mean, they look like they go together. I mean, they're from different decks, but this definitely goes along with the whole theme of just, you know, honoring your journey. I'm going to read from the deck just because it's New Year's, and it seems like that that might be a good message. Okay. Star Mother. You are more than you can possibly imagine. Loved and cherished so dearly that if you knew you would not spend 1 second of your life in separation, worry, or fear, let the mother carry your burdens. Let her rock away your fears. Lay all your worries, regrets, shame, and guilt on her altar. Please, please see, child. Do not fear. You are love in motion. If you allow it, you are already healed. Let her remind you of your goodness. Let her love away your fears. Your capacity to love and hold others is limited to your capacity to love and hold yourself. Be compassionate with your sweet body, mind, and soul. Treat yourself like the beautiful spirit that you truly are. Remind yourself that you are doing your best, and try not to carry it all on your own. You have got this, and Mother has got you. Let her broad arms take away your burdens. Let her lift the weight of the world off your shoulders. Forgive yourself, my dear sweet child of the earth. So this is perfect, you know, because it's just like, it looks like it's going to be a hard, you know, we're going to have to move through some harsh lessons, but at the end of the day, we're honoring ourselves, you know. So this is beautiful, and be inspired by this, because, you know, moving through change is not easy, but it's leading to a good place. And then finally, I'm going to take one card from the Yogic Path, which is also the same artist. So yeah, I think this, I'm very inspired by this artwork. So you might see why, because it's beautiful. The cards are very beautiful. So this is called A Yogic Path, and it's by Sahara Rose. Has a lot of concepts of Ayurveda and yoga, and it's a beautiful deck with really beautiful messages. And yeah, so I'm going to leave you on this note. Let's see what we get here. All right. We have Hanuman. I'm going to read this one from the book too, because this is a brand new deck, which I am just learning myself because I just got it for Christmas. So, Hanuman. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look at this. The artwork on these cards is amazing. And, all right, here we go. This is the God of Courage. Oh my gosh, these are so appropriate. Hanuman represents the evolved mind and the potential we all have to no longer be enslaved to our thoughts, but rather surpass them. When Lord Rama asks Hanuman, "How do you look upon me?" Hanuman answers, "When I believe I am the body, then I am your faithful servant. When I know I am the soul, I know myself to be the spark of your eternal light. And when I have the vision of truth, you and I, my Lord, are one and the same." To draw upon Hanuman symbolizes you are aware of this truth. You are more than your physical body, your ego self, your personality, your soul. The truth is that you are divine, as we all are, split from the same source. Continue to practice meditative states where you are reminded of this universal truth to aid in your evolvement. Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Yeah. So you are more than yourself. You know, you are the star seed, and you have, you know, a calling, and you know, so I think the guidance is just to be an instrument of that and allow it. So it looks like it's going to be a beautiful year with lots of challenges, but beautiful nonetheless. So I wish you luck on your journey, and I'll be back with another reading about the new decade. Talk to you later.